Colored stripes move diagonally on the screen and a multicolored title appears. It says, 7 Saturdays to a more fire-resistant home. There's a colored drawing of a simple beige house that appears in the background. A title appears on an orange screen. It says, Episode 5, Fire-Resistant Landscaping 101. Alicia Mason appears on screen. She's a young woman with shoulder-length tightly curled tawny hair and blue eyes. She wears a light blue, long-sleeved denim shirt. She stands in front of green foliage, with a wood house in the background. A middle-aged man, wearing a blue long-sleeved shirt, cleans out rain gutters that are filled with pine needles and other debris. The man and Alicia cut weeds with weed cutters. Then, they are both shown kneeling next to the side of an open garage door. Next, we see them examining a vent grill, next to an open vent hole at the bottom of a wall. We see Alicia and a man discussing a fire extinguisher. Then, we see a family of 6, walking their dog outside, and talking.
Hi, I'm Alicia Mason. Welcome back to 7 Saturdays to a Fire-Resistant Home. Each week, we're talking about ways to make your home safer from wildfires. In previous episodes, we've covered creating a defensible space, making your home fire safe, and preparing for an evacuation in the event of an emergency. Today, we're going to show you how to be a smart gardener by making your property beautiful and more fire-resistant at the same time.
As Alicia talks, 3 numbered bullet points appear below her on the screen. They say, 1. Choosing fire-resistant plants or trees. 2. Where to plant around your home. 3. What to consider when planting trees. Alicia stands next to the man in the previous images. He is David Hawkes, a senior public safety specialist at PG&E. He stands to her left. David is a middle-aged man with grey, close-cropped hair, wearing a warm beige button-down shirt. On his shirt, there's a white PG&E logo. In front of them, on a large wooden table, are a number of different-sized potted nursery plants. As David talks about the plants, we see closer shots. The plants have a variety of flowers and leaves.
First, we'll learn about types of plants and trees you should think about having around your home. Then, we'll talk about ways to position plants around your home to better prevent them from catching fire. And finally, we'll talk about tree placement when creating defensible space around your property. To help out, I'd like to welcome back our expert, David Hawkes, former fire chief of the CAL FIRE Butte Unit and senior public safety specialist at PG&E.
Thanks for having me back, Alicia. Gardening is a popular hobby here in beautiful California. To make your home more fire resistant, plant selection and placement are key. Today I'm going to show you some simple steps to keep garden plants and trees on your property from becoming fuel for a fire. While no plant is fireproof, I'll give you tips on which native plants have adapted to become more fire resistant than others.
Okay, wow, now I'm interested. So David, you mentioned that certain plants and trees have evolved to be more fire resilient.
Absolutely. Over centuries, native plants in fire-prone areas like California have adapted to protect themselves.
That's so cool. I had no idea that we have plants native to this region that are actually fire resistant.
An orange screen appears with the title. Step 1. Choosing fire-resistant plants or trees. Under the title, inside a circle, there's a drawing of green plants. David and Alicia talk and walk together through an outdoor area with a lot of different plants. There are 2 large, dark bark trees behind them. There are close shots of plants in the area. An orange screen appears with the title. Step 2. Where to plant around your home. Under the title, inside a circle, there's a drawing that shows a green house. Alicia and David walk next to a house. They come across 2 plants in pots right next to the home. The plants are about 3 feet high. An orange text box appears at the bottom of the screen that says, no plant should be planted within 5 feet of the home. Plants within 5 to 30 feet should be low-growing and non-woody. David holds twigs and debris that have fallen from the plants in the palm of his gloved hand. Alicia and David talk, standing near 2 trees planted a few feet away from the home. The plants are about 2 feet from one another, and about 4 to 5 feet high.
David, can you touch on what types of plants are fire resistant?
Yes, it's best to check with your local nursery. Any plant is capable of burning. However, some plants like these here that are non-woody herbaceous are more resistant to fire than others. And for trees, it's best to select a tree that is deep-rooted, has thicker bark, and typically a tree with leaves over needles.
Perfect. Okay, and I'd love to talk about plant placement. I know that's important too.
It is. Wow, these plants are a big problem. They pose a big risk to this house. Not only are they in the wrong spot, up close to the house, but these are woody plants. They should never be planted close to the house. They should be planted well out into the landscaped area of the yard. No plant should ever be planted within 5 feet of the home. Plants that are within from 5 to 30 feet should be low-growing and non-woody plants. These plants should be planted outside of that 30-foot zone. The other problem with these plants is they have a lot of dry, dead material that is super receptive to embers in a firestorm. Let's pick these up and move them well away from the house.
Sounds good. David, tell us a little bit about this plant placement here.
Good question. These two plants are definitely too close together. And not only that, they're immature plants, they're young plants. We need to consider what the plant size is going to be at maturity. And these plants are going to probably get 6 to 8 feet tall, if not taller.
An animated graphic cartoon appears which shows two plants next to each other in the ground. Next to them is a bracket showing their height that says X. The tree to the right moves across the frame to the far right of the screen, so now they are much farther apart. In between the trees is a line that's labeled 2X. An orange text box appears that says, break up fuel continuity with non-combustible material. Alicia and David walk over to a very dried out looking plant that's about 3 feet high. An orange text box appears that says, keep plants well irrigated. Remove dead plants.
Taller. So what we need to do is create 2 times the space of that height when we're planting them. So we should be looking at 10 to 12 feet separation at least. It's also good to create pathways through your garden with rock and other types of non-combustible material that will help break up fuel continuity.
Okay, and this plant over here looks a little sad, is that correct?
Boy, this guy's seen better days.
Yeah.
The best thing that you can do is keep your plants well irrigated and watered so that they're healthy and have high moisture content in the plant. But in the case of this guy, since he's on his last leg, we need to remove him altogether.
Okay, so a more beautiful garden is actually a safer garden, David.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
An orange screen appears with the title, Step 3, What to Consider When Planting Trees. Under the title, inside a circle, there's a drawing that shows a tree. David and Alicia stand next to a tall tree with a wide dark trunk, as they talk. An animated graphic cartoon appears, that shows a house in a wooded area. Around the house, a yellow perimeter box appears. It's labeled, 30 feet. All the trees are outside of this yellow perimeter area. An orange text box appears that says, maintain at least 10 feet of space between the crowns of mature trees. Alicia and David kneel on the ground, with plants and gardening tools around them.
Okay, David, so we touched on plants. Can you tell us a little bit more about trees?
Absolutely. You need to think about what the tree is going to look like at maturity. Conifers and taller trees should be planted at least 30 feet away from the home. Smaller trees and trees with leaves like a dogwood may be planted a little bit closer. The other thing you need to think about is when the trees reach maturity, what other trees in the area will be close proximity to them. You need to make sure that you have at least 10 foot of spacing between the crowns of trees once they reach maturity.
That's a great point. Is there anything else I should keep in mind when planting on my property?
Yes, you need to be aware that fire spreads faster on sloped surfaces. If your property is sloped, choose plants that are lower in height and lower in volume.
An animation appears on a blue screen showing 2 plants on the ground. The height of the plant on the left is marked as X. A line appears between the plants that's labeled 2X. The ground line slopes up to the right. The plants spread farther apart and the line in between them is now labeled 4X. Alicia places a little plant, with dark pink flowers on it, in the ground.
And make sure to give them plenty of space from each other, at least double the amount of space that you would give them on flat ground. Alicia, that's an excellent example of a fire-resistant plant.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love that's an activity I can do with my whole family, and it's making my home more fire resilient.
Remember that additional landscaping projects like building stone walls, gravel walkways, and patios also increase the amount of defensible space immediately around your home.
That all sounds great. What's in store for next week?
We're going to look at simple ways to make the inside of your home more fire resilient.
Okay, well, I'm definitely interested in learning more about that. Thanks again for joining us on 7 Saturdays to a more fire-resistant home. We'll see you next week. If you want to catch up on our previous 7 Saturdays to a fire-resistant home, go to safetyactioncenter.pge.com to watch past episodes and learn more preparedness tips.
The opening title that says, 7 Saturdays to a more fire-resistant home, appears once again, followed by the PG&E logo. Along the bottom of the screen it says, learn more at safetyactioncenter.pge.com.